Okay, well, I should be. I want to get working on storytelling. That's actually the whole point of my channel and my project, and just basically what I want to do in general. That's storytelling, not really illustration. I've been practicing illustration because, well, I also like visual arts as well as much as narrative. But I guess my favorite thing uh, in terms of creative works is are the things that mix those two things and some other things, but narrative and visual arts or visual elements. So that would be like graphic narrative, right? That's my thing. And I would also like to incorporate music in this thing, and maybe even some form of a podcast and other things. But basically, mainly narrative, graphic narrative, right? Graphic storytelling. So telling stories using images. And I haven't actually been doing that. I have been just working on the visual side of things, the illustration, all of that. But I haven't started really practicing my storytelling, and I haven't done a bunch of it. I've written a couple stories, kind of semi decently, but I really don't have enough practice to really just sit down and let ideas pour out. It doesn't happen. I have a bunch of ideas, and I used to be a good storyteller when I was a kid. You know, playing with my toys and drawing and stuff. But I just lost it. I don't really know where, when, or why. But nowadays, I feel like all of that creativity, creativity I used to have back then, it's it is still there, but it's just kind of like buried under a bunch of bullshit, you know, adult life and modern world bullshit. So I'm trying to get it back. And but I mean, one thing I definitely need to start doing is to start or just practicing, just creating small stories, really mostly for the purpose of practicing, not to actually make it the story that I want to tell. I think I need to practice first, get to that point where I have the resources and experience to actually tell the story I want to tell. But I've been afraid. I've gotta be honest. I've just been scared of failing, of starting, and it's just so strong. The fear is too strong, and it doesn't come always just as fear. Sometimes it disguises itself as mostly as laziness. I I feel like I'm too lazy to do things. I don't feel like I have enough energy or find other things to distract myself with. So, and I end up doing nothing. And I end up thinking a lot about things that I already kind of decided, and just overthinking them and just keeping them going around and around in my head. I'm not really, uh, sorry, being productive. So I just get stuck. It's not like I'm aware that I am afraid. Well, at least not most of the time. It's not like I'm aware that I am scared and that it is the fear that it's keeping me from working. I believe my fear disguises itself as being busy, as not being ready to do that. So I need to think and think and think and just process it until I get to this kind of perfect idea, which is ridiculous. Because sometimes I feel like I'm aiming to find an idea which is so good that I'm not gonna have to do any work at all. That just by having the idea, it's kind of like going to materialize and the thing is going to be done without me having to work on it. But that's not going to happen, obviously. So, I mean, I've been trying that way for a long time and it hasn't worked, so I think we're ready to change the strategy. Now I'm going to, well, I want to start with with the storytelling practices. So that's what I am trying to do right now with this thing. So I came up with it's not so simple. It developed. It's what always happens. I start with sometimes with good ideas and simple ideas, which I could kind of turn into something without much work. But I don't know. Maybe the fear again makes me just keep thinking on those things, those ideas, and making them more complicated than they were originally, and they turn into this big thing which is becomes hard to materialize. And then at that point, I usually just give up on that thing. I put it aside and start thinking of something new, a new idea. And this idea kind of, yeah, it's not was I was going in that direction, but I think I was able to stop it and just be left with a simple enough idea to begin with. So that's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be recording process to share it with you, and also just talking about it makes me helps me to be more aware of my own ideas, what I am thinking about this work. And also, just to ask for help if anyone out there would like to collaborate in this. I mean, I don't have any money to give anybody, but I'll give you credit. And just if you have any idea, something that you think would go good with this story, please feel free to share it. And I'll review those ideas, and if there's something there I like, of course I'll use it, and I'll give you the credit for it. Because I'm also one of the ideas, or kind of what I want to do, is start this story, take it to wherever to where I can take it, and maybe I don't really have a goal as to how far I want to take it. Maybe just until it doesn't feel right. And if that happens, if it starts feeling not right, then I'll get back, like rewind and just take a different route for the story. It's going to be like that. We're going to be like time travelers here. Because if something doesn't work as a story, I don't like it, then we come back to pretty much this place, or at least the last save point, which would be the last part where the story was still working for me, and pick it up from there and just take a different route the second time, and third and fourth time, just different routes every time, and just see what we end up with. So I'm going to be kind of like doing that, registering, recording the process, talking about it, and also maybe I think kind of telling parts of the story as I go. It might be interesting. I don't think I've seen that format for storytelling, which is like the idea is to be telling the story as I make it, kind of, and as I do the drawings and everything. So let's see how that works. Okay, I have this. This is going to be, I think, my first scene. Very simple. If I'm going to, I want to focus on the storytelling part of this, and I think for that to I need to keep the visual aspect as simple as possible. You know, the least, yes, just as easy to replicate and to do and to manage as possible. This is not like, I mean, I don't need, I'm not planning on even using this story for, the ideas I have. But, sorry, I lost my trailer of thought there. Mm, I'm not going to use this story. Well, no, this is a practice story, but I still want to have some things the way I want them. That's okay. Maybe we can just bring this house a little bit. Doesn't really matter. I think that's what I was talking about, trying to talk about before. Yes, if I want to focus on the storytelling, I need to keep the visual part as simple as possible. Easy to replicate and to there. That's good. Easy to replicate, easy to do, just to begin with. I don't want to waste. Well, I would like to be able not to waste any time on this. I mean, I have to spend some time on it because, well, it's part of things. But for now, it's just the visual part is just kind of symbolic. Whenever I am drawing or illustrating, I get carried away into the image and I start just putting detail and working on it, kind of like automatic, automatically. Even though I'm not going to, in this case, for example, I'm not going to use this for a story or anything, but I can help. can't help it. Okay, let's just leave it like that. And I put this texture here, this stone texture, which I think came out pretty nice. I mean, I was just trying this, kind of what I was just telling. I was just fooling around, getting kind of uh, just playing with the scene, with the details. But you can see I didn't end, I didn't finish. I have this part here which is still solid color. This, I mean, it lacks a bunch of detail, but we're gonna leave it like that for now because it works. I need to keep the, as I said, need to keep the visual aspect at a minimum so it doesn't consume much time, so I don't waste a lot of time on it. Because right now it's not, of course, it is important. It's not working on the visual aspect of your story. I believe it's not a waste of time, but right now, in this case, it's not my main. This looks this looks fun, like virtual or something. Let's give it some color. I'm just seeing if it works. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just playing around. I want it to be kind of clear, kind of too reddish. Kind of want it to be more like a, maybe blue, right? Stone, like it's too blue. I want something between blue and gray. That looks like stone, doesn't it? Some kind of stone. Okay, maybe what's a door under here, but it's already buried under all those stones. I think this color kind of conveys, it's not that it's important, but I believe this color conveys the idea that it's just like a blueprint, right? A test, not the official finished thing. Let's just try this one. Oh, that's the one we have. Let's leave it like that. So I'll use this one. Yeah, because you know in the future it's going to be easier to just keep doing things, drawing things in this color. So let's save this, and I don't know where to put this. YouTube. I guess this is going to be in my YouTube channel, which is this one. And let's storytelling. And Let's call this one. Right, so for the first shot, I want to start with the story, the action right away. I have a couple of ideas to, for scenes that might go before this, but this is pretty much the important part for the story. And it's going to be this kind of this village with this castle over just a tower there, and it's going to be under attack, under siege. So let's draw a bunch of flames here. It's very basic. Flame shapes. What else? One. It's this one. Right. Doesn't look like flame exactly. Mm, I think that's enough. But you get the feel of flames there. Change the color. Since we are going kind of black and white, maybe this should be white. Let's see. Just white. The edges so they blend together nicely. Let's just copy. That's it. Nice fire going. Maybe that might actually be too much fire. Well, let's leave it like that. When you get the idea that the town is burning, right? That's the point of it. So that's the idea you're getting by seeing this. It's working, and I think yep, that's what I'm getting. Town burning. Burning town vibes. Burning village. Town. A little smaller. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so this is going to be, I think, our first shot, basically. Yeah, that's our first shot. done. Like the screen back there. I want nice 9, 16 by 9. Huh, that's exactly 16 by 9. So now we can scale it up. Make it 1600 and 883 here. Thought it would be 900. That's cool. That should be approximately the size of the YouTube screen. I guess I should know for sure. So for the background, we need a different color because the flames are kind of getting lost there. Or we should change the color of the flames. In that case, they get mixed up with the houses. Maybe this color. It's very different to the one in the house. And there, and there. This one. I cannot select them all because they are too close to the roofs of the houses. So they both get selected. Do something about it later. There. Right, so that's our first shot. Like this. Let's export it. Wow, shouldn't be. Let's do 16. See how that looks. Where is it? That's purple here. The other option is to put it right in the middle, the center of the screen. Kind of like there. Let's do a second. Like the second one. This one. And this one. Right. So there we have our first shot. Let's do do something that I don't need to do, but might be cool. Let's give the flames a little bit of an animation. Just very simple. Move there. Very simple movement there. And the other way. This one's smaller and this one's gotta check how that looks. It doesn't work, we'll leave the movement out of the whole thing. It's not really necessary. But it would be cool to have it. See what happens here. I mean, it should work. Let's use just this two inches. And this is fire. Second, half a second. Let's try half a second. Okay, let's see. It looks good. I mean, maybe it would look better faster. I can make it a little faster. Very quickly. What? Maybe 3.3. It looks good at 0.5, but it doesn't look bad being like slow. But let's just try this with 0.3. I think it will look better. Yeah, I mean, I like it either way. Oh yeah, that's really giving the feeling of place better. You see how easy that was? It was very easy to do. It looks pretty decent. Put a little more time into something like this, and you can end up with a pretty nice scene, kind of like a looping scene. That's good. Right. Well, that's our first shot done.
Ah, sì,